In a land shrouded in the darkness of idolatry, a child was born who would change the course of history, Ibrahim. From an early age, his mind rejected the worship of lifeless idols, and his heart sought the truth beyond the stars. Raised among a people who worshipped celestial bodies and statues, Ibrahim realized that only one true God was worthy of devotion. Fearless, he challenged tyrants, debated King Nimrod, and was cast into fire, yet it became cool and peaceful by divine command. Undeterred, he embarked on a journey of faith, leaving his homeland in pursuit of truth. Ibrahim's story is not just history, it is a testament to faith, sacrifice, and unwavering conviction. From building the Kaaba to the ultimate test of sacrificing his son, from his heartfelt prayers to his final days in Palestine, his legacy remains a guiding light for those who seek the path of righteousness. Ibrahim was born in the land of Babylon, specifically in Ur of the Chaldeans, around 1900 BCE. It was an era dominated by idolatry, where people worshipped lifeless statues and celestial bodies. The tyrant king, Nimrod, ruled with absolute power, claiming divinity and silencing any challenge to his authority. When a prophecy foretold that a child would be born to overthrow his reign, he ordered the execution of all newborn boys. Yet, Ibrahim's mother hid him in a remote cave, where he grew in secret until he was strong enough to face the world. Raised in a society blinded by superstition, Ibrahim was different. He possessed a striking presence, tall, strong, with deep, intelligent eyes that reflected his relentless search for truth. Unlike those around him, he questioned everything. His father, Azar, was a sculptor of idols, yet Ibrahim could not comprehend how people could worship what their own hands had crafted. At night, he would gaze at the stars, the moon, and the sun, wondering if any of them could be the true God. But as each celestial body set, he realized that the Creator must be far greater, beyond the reach of human hands and imagination. As his certainty grew, so did his determination to challenge the falsehoods that surrounded him. It was the beginning of a journey that would change history forever. Ibrahim stood in the temple, watching his people bow before lifeless statues, whispering prayers to stone idols that neither heard nor responded. He could not understand how they placed their faith in creations of their own hands. When the day of their grand festival arrived, the city emptied, leaving the idols unguarded. Seizing the moment, Ibrahim took an axe and shattered them all, leaving only the largest intact, placing the axe upon its shoulder. When the people returned, they were horrified. "Who has done this to our gods?" they asked. Someone recalled hearing a young man, Ibrahim, speaking against them. Brought before King Nimrod, he was questioned, "Did you do this?" With unwavering confidence, Ibrahim pointed to the remaining idol. "Ask the largest one," he said. "Perhaps it can speak." The crowd fell silent, realizing their own folly, yet their pride would not allow them to accept the truth. Enraged, Nimrod ordered Ibrahim's execution by fire. A massive pyre was built, its flames so intense that no one could approach. Using a catapult, they hurled him into the inferno. But as he fell, Ibrahim uttered, "God is sufficient for me, and He is the best disposer of affairs." In an instant, a divine command was given, "O fire, be cool and peaceful upon Ibrahim." The flames that should have consumed him became a gentle breeze, leaving him unharmed. The people stood in stunned silence, witnessing the impossible. Yet, despite the miracle, their hearts remained hardened. Ibrahim left Babylon under the cover of night, abandoning a land where truth was rejected, and a king who claimed divinity. With his wife, Sarah, and his nephew, Lot, he journeyed north, crossing deserts and valleys until he reached the land of Sham. He found temporary refuge in Palestine, but when famine struck, he was forced to travel to Egypt around 1800 BCE. Egypt was ruled by a tyrannical king known for seizing beautiful women. Fearing for their safety, Ibrahim introduced Sarah as his sister. When the king attempted to take her, he was repeatedly struck by paralysis until he realized she was divinely protected. Terrified, he released her and, as a gesture of compensation, gifted them a servant named Hajar. With Sarah and Hajar, Ibrahim returned to Palestine, where he finally settled. He built altars in devotion to God, spreading the message of monotheism. Though his journey had led him across distant lands, he knew it was far from over. His destiny was not just to settle, but to lay the foundation for a great nation. Years passed, and Ibrahim remained childless in Palestine with his wife, Sarah. Longing for an heir, he prayed earnestly to God. Seeing his sorrow, Sarah offered him her servant, Hajar, as a wife. Soon after, around 1780 BCE, Hajar gave birth to a son, Ismail. Ibrahim's joy was immense, but it was soon followed by a divine test. God commanded him to take Hajar and Ismail to a barren valley, Makkah. He left them with a small supply of water and dates, then turned to leave. "Where are you going, leaving us in this empty land?" Hajar asked. When she realized it was God's command, she replied with unwavering faith, "Then he will not abandon us." As the days passed, their water ran out, and Ismail cried in thirst. Desperate, Hajar ran between the hills of Safa and Marwa 7 times, searching for help. At that moment, God caused a spring to gush forth beneath Ismail's feet, Zamzam. Life began to flourish in the once barren land. Years later, Ibrahim received another test. He saw in a dream that he must sacrifice Ismail. Understanding this as a divine command, he told his son. Ismail, unwavering, replied, "Father, do as you are commanded. You will find me patient, God willing." As Ibrahim placed the knife to his son's neck, God intervened, replacing him with a great sacrifice, a ram from heaven. With Ismail now grown, God commanded Ibrahim to build his sacred house in Makkah. Together, father and son raised the foundations of the Kaaba, praying, "Our Lord, accept this from us. You." After a long life of faith and devotion, Ibrahim spent his final years in Palestine, worshipping God and witnessing the blessings of his legacy. He was granted another son, Ishaq, after Ismail, and he saw his descendants grow, carrying forward the message of monotheism. His heart was at peace, knowing that his mission had taken root. Around 1700 BCE, at nearly 200 years old, Ibrahim felt the weight of age upon him. His body grew weak, but his faith remained steadfast. He knew his journey in this world was coming to an end, yet he had no fear. He had fulfilled his purpose, spread the truth, and laid the foundation for generations to come. Ibrahim passed away in the city of Hebron, Palestine, and was laid to rest in the cave he had acquired as a burial site for his family. His memory endures, his story remains a guiding light, and his legacy as the beloved servant of God, the father of prophets, and the symbol of faith and sacrifice continues to inspire the world.